I'll buy that book.
You guys be careful not to shake the table. Can you guys just leave it, please?
You are Annie. You are right.
I was told about Arthur's performances. I didn't expect to be followed then by students' wonderful performances. This is my first time participating in this wonderful ceremony, and I want to thank you all for having me here and for the great pleasure I've had in working with two wonderful young writers. And the first I'm introducing is Annie Liontas. Annie Liontas' thesis, her novel begins and ends on an address from her hero, the father, whose first missive is an email to his daughters and ex-wife. His address is Stavros Mavrakis, Greek boss 1 at yahoo.com. That says it all. And his subject is simple: our father who is dying in 1 week. Much like Shakespeare's Lear, although funnier, Stavros is a vain old king with thoughts of dying, but not before extracting from his daughters and ex-wife that which he believes is his due. Out of love and respect for the father, he asks something of each, and their response is a part of this remarkable thesis. Which is not to say the book is finished, but it's very, very close to being finished. And Annie has taken the familiar family romance, a father with 3 daughters and tasks for each, and made it new, entirely her own, a sensual novel, food-saturated book. The women have my heart, although I can forgive Stavros, because as with every character, Annie has cut and cooked him in a way that all his flavors are released. He has a great heart, as does his author. Work, not sun, marks our orbit. So says Marina, the gifted cook, my favorite character, wise, loving, in the moment. She makes meals out of bones. Annie Liontas has made such a feast. Work, not sun, marks our orbit, might be said of Annie. Her ferocious work ethic, how else beyond talent to explain a thesis as polished as that turned in by Annie Liontas. I feel lucky to have had the pleasure of being her reader and the honor of introducing her today at her graduation. Thank you.
I need to say that I've been grateful every day to be here, even the hard ones. They've all been amazing, and I wish I could thank everyone here. I've learned so much from my teachers, and that includes my peers. This place has changed my DNA as a writer, and that is the greatest gift. I have incredible mentors, and I can't even get into it, but you'll get a card in the mail. I want to thank my sister and Aunt Judy for coming. They're kind of the only people I have to impress in the room, besides maybe Paula. And of course, my fiancée and sugar mama, Sarah, has supported me for 10 years and believed in my work and made beautiful flowers for me. Thank you so much. So I'm going to read from thesis. It's a couple of short scenes. I'm starting with the email that Christine alluded to. I won't read the whole thing, and then I'll just jump around and If you have questions, just raise your hand. From Steve Stavros Mavrakis, GreekBoss1@yahoo.com. To Stevie@gmail.com, ChefStevie@forkrestaurant.com, xxangelxx@yahoo.com, Ruby@yahoo.com, CarolM@starbucks.com. Subject: Our Father who is dying in 1 week. Dear family, daughters, and ex-wife, let me explain you something. I am sick in a way that no doctor would have much understanding. I'm sick in a way of the soul that, yes, God will take me. No, I am not a suicide. I am deeper than that. I am talking more than that. Dear Stavrula, my oldest, please grow out your hair. It is very, very short. This is one small thing that can change everything. You will see what I'm saying when you take this small but essential advice. Sometimes, if we are who we are supposed to be on the outside, we are who we are supposed to be on the inside. The hair is not the thing to be blamed. The hair is the thing to trust and leave alone, and it will take care of you. Let me explain you something. Your father has seen some of the world for it to be enough. There is a way to be for the normal society, and you are not in it. The hair says things about you that, yes, they are true, but the hair is not a fortune teller. The hair is not the thing that has to point the way, like a street light. Dear Litsa, my second, please go to church. You could say, no, Dad, you go to church. Then we will talk about it if I go to church. But what I'm talking about here are lessons that I should have taken for myself if my father had the wisdom to give me awareness, which I am holding out for you. Litsa, let me explain you something. Litsa, you have problems. Litsa, nobody marries for a big wedding and then divorce 1 week later. When your mother and I divorced, it took years off our life. Litsa, nobody destroys property the way when you come here into my diner and smash the cake dessert case with my own stool. The same is true for your sister, which you take that same stool and break her car window with it. Even though you deny this always. Are you on drugs, Litsa? Are you the same lowlife as your biological mother? Litsa, you need God in your life. Litsa, I am seeing how much help you are needing, and I know that God has to exist because He is the only one who can do for you. I cannot do for you. I can only do for you what I am done for you. Yes, Litsa, you must go to church, to pray. For your father, yes, and for yourself. Dear Ruby, my little one, that I have adoration. It is time to leave boys for the girls and get yourself a man. You don't want to be one of those women who takes and does not appreciate all of the ways her husband slaves, like your mother. Don't go marrying some losers, which you know I am talking about Kurt. You can think instead about my assistant Jimmy, who makes a decent living and has dreams of owning his own diner the way his mentor has, which is your father. Otherwise, you are doing okay. This is sort of later in the book. It's a letter to his first ex-wife, because his family is not taking him seriously about his impending death. I should say actually that he sort of had this dream, this prophetic dream that he's going to die in 10 days. And he's sort of rushing around planning his funeral, and no one's fighting. So he's contacted his ex-wife, who he hasn't seen in maybe 20 years, and he wants her to be the executor of his estate. Dear Dina, I have written letter on letter to you. It is not because I am a person of letters, because writing, it is not satisfying. It does not get close enough to what must be said. I write one draft that blame you for everything. I write another draft that save you of everything. Marrying you was the devastating decision of my life. You ruined me and you ruined my children. This is why they hate me. It is unnatural for girls to hate their father, and that is why they live unnatural lives. I could spend the last hours of my life in hating you for this, but daughters are not only daughters, but also adults, and hate is something you choose, not something of inheritance. If Stavros as a young man were here with me, he would say, "Do you open your mouth for the birds to circle back and shit in it?"
That's great.
He would say, "Why don't you also give Dina your Arcadia so that she can smush them into bits the way she did the headlights, taillights, windshield, back window, rear view mirror of the car you love more than anyone in the world." Remember 30 years ago? Remember, Dina, I could not escape you, and you could not escape me. What a difference the world was. I am no more this young man, and neither are you, and we are no longer young and understand that a person can escape almost anything. The truth on it is that you and I, in many ways, begin life together. And so we must end life together. That is why, Dina, I ask you, be my executor. A rap on the windshield, it came. Stavros jumped. His heartbeat shot up his arms and into his legs and continued to radiate as pain from his shoulder. The papers crumpled in his hand. For a moment he imagined the long angel of God with his farming tool come harvest him a few days too early. God and his angels did not fly you home or cart you up to heaven in some bassinet. They picked through the rock and dug you out of the earth because you were a potato with too many eyes made dull from being too far underground too long.
Oh.
And you were dirty, you were blind, and you could not return. The cane rapped again. The black umbrella obscured the knocker's face, and he mistook it for a cloak of death, and then a potato sack of death, and he felt very afraid. It had Stavros crying, "Not yet." A woman's voice, maybe, muffled, said, "Get out of my parking spot." The woman moved menacingly closer to his driver's window. Through the ribbons of rain, he could just make out her face and understood it was not death come for him, but his ex-ex-wife. Unless in life, death took the form of your ex-wife. "Dina," he said, and rolled down the window enough for his voice to get out. "What are you doing in this rain?" Her big red lips and uncontrolled mouth, which always reminded him of wild live wires. Her Greek nose, long and pointy, and now darker than the rest of her face. The black, ugly, short hair, which even when it had been long, had seemed sharp. The mole in the corner of her face, which had always given him the impression that, if she was born without it, she would have lived a much happier life. She recognized it was him when she heard her name. It shrank her back into a woman with a cane and an umbrella, but then she puffed herself up again and said, "What are you doing, Malaka? This is my house." By house she meant apartment. The buildings were joined and identical, including the rusting railings, and there was communal trash and assigned parking spaces. The pretend brick facade was yellow-brown, which did not to him look like a color, but like a color with mud on it. The Dina he knew belonged here. Years ago, in the beginning of their relationship, he was crisp apple, she was core. Then he was summery peach, and she was pip. Then he was luxurious pear, and she was core again. He could cut the right parts of himself from her, and did. That was the only way to survive. But he always noted the parts that were missing, inedible or not. If he had been mask, he realized, she would have been eye holes. If he had been dog, she tongue. If chicken, liver. 15 years of hating the core, then another 15 pretending it did not exist. Stavros had finally, only yesterday, come to acceptance that she could not have Stavros without Dina. So the last scene that I'll read is the night before the funeral. Stavros has disappeared. They don't know where he's gone, but according to his wishes, they're going through with it anyway. It's in the perspective of Marina, the cook, and she's also Stavros' mentor as well as Stavros' cook and best friend. And the sort of vigil they're having is led by the Papas, which is a priest, and he's also Marina's father. Confusing, I'm sorry. The Papas himself takes hot chocolate to the 3 beautiful daughters. He carries the mugs one by one because he is half blind and the eczema worm has eaten his hands. In the booth, the daughters are obedient. They accept the mugs because he asks In booths, all children of all ages wait to be told where to go next, even Marina. Papas, if you call, I will come to your table and I will take some chocolate to drink, too. But no, the Papas is not her father right now. The Papas is a consoler, and he is a meanderer, and he is a poet, and he is a priest, and he is a bird tracking the crumbs to the missing Stavros. Marina feels very unwise tonight. Her heart is a king with many heads and tigers, and she cannot trust it. Her Stavrula is being brave. She is making the table into a triangle that points back to her as the head, so that her sisters will see she has the eyes to see them through this difficult period and whatever difficulty follows. She is as brave as she was when she first entered this country. Marina, knowing it is both a right and a flaw within herself, cannot help but hold disappointment in her heart for her dear Stavrula. Stavrula knows this, she feels it, and that pains Marina. Who could believe that Stavros' letter would speak truth? Marina knows now that he is right about her Stavrula, that Stavrula desires things no woman is entitled to, a kind of happiness that should disgust Marina, but mostly it saddens her. Stavrula, a horse that refuses to break, even if domesticity would make life easy. After too many years, even Marina, whom no one could break, had finally broken. Not Stavrula. Her daring Stavrula, this much in her she can admire. Stavrula meets her eye. Marina taps middle finger to thumb 3-4 times, a kind of quiet clapping that says, I love you, I see you. Stavrula smiles, turns her eyes back to the girls. Now the Papas is telling a joke. It is either about the goat girl, the snake tree, or he is trying to have them guess at what is the quickest thing on earth. Somehow the joke becomes a joke about their father. It is Ruby who laughs the easiest. Stavrula, like Marina, laughs with her mouth open. Lisa laughs only when Marina catches her not laughing. Of them all, Marina knows she is the one feeling the whole of her father's absence, because it is a larger version of the whole she feels at all times. In the booth, Lisa sits alone. If Marina were asked to join them, she would sit on Lisa's side. Yes, Marina loves Stavrula, but today maybe even more Lisa, because Lisa so much needs love, is broken over it. And Marina, in her own way, can give it from afar, though she knows that will never be enough for Lisa. As well as, Marina sees some of herself in Lisa. They too are the kind of rock that continues to appear in your yard after you sweep it away, more weed than mineral. The kind of rock that has always been in her throat, and yes, Lisa's throat as well, because they both insisted on relying on themselves at such an early age. Marina knows Lisa's pain. Marina knows Lisa must rise above the pain, as Stavrula has learned to do, must chew on the rock. Women like them chew on rocks all their entire lives, which is why Marina cannot offer Lisa leniency, but she can offer love from afar. The Papa says something that Marina, wrapping pastry at the counter, cannot hear. All three girls blow diligently into their cups. Marina knows this trick. It is the sailboat. Whoever blows the sailboat fastest, the Papa says to all the children in the village, wins the race. Marina knows there is no sailboat. That does not stop us, Papas. That makes us try harder. The girl's mother will come soon, and then Marina can call the Papas back from the family. Marina can say, come away, let them think in peace for their confusion, once Carol comes. Until then, Marina takes care of the bakery case. Marina uses plastic wrapping for the pastries and does not get too involved in the condolencing that is happening at the table. Marina does not know if Stavros will die or will he live. Marina is not someone who can see into the future. Marina trusts that what must happen will happen, just like the hen under the knife bends her neck to what's to come. So Marina tells herself. But Marina does not trust Stavros or his brain, thick as cow tongue these days, or his disappearance. Stavros is the kind of man who will arrange his own funeral and not die. But he is also the kind of man to arrange his funeral and then go ahead and die. What will happen to the three beautiful girls? Ruby, who does not yet know how to read the world and maybe never will? Or will it be that she will be fortunate enough that the world will more properly read her? Stavrula and Lisa, think how far apart they already are. One a satellite, one an ocean liner. Marina loves them both dearly, as if she thought of the idea of them. Marina understands that Stavrula and Lisa, and you too, Stavro, and you too, Dina, and you too, Marina, and you too, belong to a race of people who must carry everything they own in their mouths. All of their luggage they squeeze into their mouth. You can only fit so much of the old place, Marina, or so many words, or so many exaggerations, or so many stories, or so many people, or so much soup, before you must spit and take a breath. And then a very different world fills you up. It is not unwelcome. It is just unfamiliar. It is just reinvention. This is immigration even so many years later. Marina wraps the pastry with 3 easy folds, plastic on plastic on plastic, so that it is no longer clear, it is cloudy. The papas calls for a round of milkshakes, the girls not quite through their hot chocolates. Every flavor, he says to the waitress. It is a reason for everyone in the diner, even her, to love him. Marina, without children, without family, without any troubles besides the ones that get stirred up in pots. What does she know? This is not true, Marina, and you know it. Now wrapping pastry, Marina is brave enough to say what she could not say for years. A prayer in the diner is as good as a prayer anywhere. Father, take care of the girls. The milkshakes come. The papas fashions farm animals out of the straw wrappers and makes them walk. When he begins to sing, too low for many people to hear, Marina cannot go on with her prayer. She cannot go on with her work. She watches and listens. The song tells about an apricot tree and a shepherd who falls asleep only to wake up and realize that his flock never quite left him. They were just on the other side of the mountain with the girl from his dreams. It is when he sings the refrain, the girl of his dreams, that the papas looks up at Marina, his eyes glossy. It is when he sings, I could see you for the apricot trees, that he beckons her. Marina is the little girl holding her milk jug, nothing lost but the bottom, and instead of chiding her for the spilled milk, he laughs. She makes him laugh. From behind the counter, Marina joins her papas beneath the apricot tree. I'd like to close with a very brief epilogue, and then you get cake. The letter that Stavros meant to send. The letter Stavros wanted for Litsa. The letter Litsa wanted herself. The letter Stavrula knew could be hidden inside the mouse hole of her father's heart. The letter that said, if I could replace me for another me, for you, I would. The letter that said, dear daughter, our letters are like band-aids. We push down on words so they cannot open too much, or so they open only a trickle. The letter that could not be written because it was true. The letter he did send with no way to open. Dear family, dear my cherished ones, let me explain you something. A man may hold a child like if she were a fish. Did this man want fish? No, he wanted sons. But in his palms are 3 fish given by God. One is beautiful, one gets brighter every time you look away, and one is fierce like a dark star exploding. The man is up to his knees. He is in a current that remembers every time it goes out and forgets each time it comes in. He keeps his beautiful fish in his pocket as long as he can, but a pocket is no place for beautiful fish, and he gives little by little until finally she's swimming on her own. He tells the bright fish, your gills are so small. The bright fish splashes over the lifelines of his palm. She says to him, I only need to hold one breath at a time. Yes, the man says to himself, this is wisdom. This is what makes her so much brighter when you look away. Like so, she could swim in the fearless ocean, the Atlantic. She will never be gobbled like he worries. Okay, so the man addressed to his other fish in his other palm. This one, she is more like a sea urchin with black spikes for skin and a pink mouth she keeps hidden. If a diver steps on this type of fish, he will feel a spike through his heel. So the man tells her, his little black fish child, this is a way to hurt others, this way to be. In return, black fish child says to him, this is a way not to get eaten. She is right, too, in her own way. She swims in the ocean of fearless in a different way. The beautiful fish, the bright one, and the dark black urchin. What choice does the father have but to give his children water? This is how they must live. The man is up to his knees. He is in a current that remembers every time it goes out and forgets each time it comes in. His palms are empty, his children gone to the same sea. Over a lifetime, a man becomes a whale very large. He wants only this. When he dies, his body sinks to the floor for his children, his fish, to feed. Thank you.